arrivato a notte e zona di sosta. Abbiamo sentito stanco, è arrivato la fine di sosta e c'è la possibilità per uscire. Per tornare indietro. In teoria c'è una parte di... In teoria c'è una parte anche di dove trasmetti di cinema, quindi non puoi te la sente, è troppo difficile.
Why did I sign up for this? Why did I sign up for this? I didn't even sign up.
Ok, stasera scegliamo di gioco. Qui ce n'è una tanto di
È avventuroso.
Always hold this as water. Always hold this as water. This water down.
Quindi, se dai poca lì, state preghi.
Quick, we gotta catch him. Quick, bro. Come on. Don't get lost.
Go slowly.
Dad, you gotta go back. Don't get lost.
Just only one way.
Poca lì che oggi? Bisogna dire, poca non state prendendo te tutti.
You're welcome to take photos while you're down here, guys. Just don't take any of me. If you put images of me on social media, the police will find out where I am. That we like to call Walker's Grove. Before I tell you any more about Walker's Grove, I want to just let you know that that tunnel you've walked down to get here, that is actually part of a 5-mile-long fault line in the valley called the Great Rake. The Great Rake runs for another 2 miles in that direction through the hill until it gets to a village called Bonsall on the other side, and it goes off another 3 miles in that direction. So in total the Great Rake is over 5 miles long, and it would have been made by a volcano erupting around here 180 million years ago. So some really massive forces of nature at play. You need to imagine that cracks like that got filled up with mineral-rich waters, and those minerals got trapped inside the rock and turned it into some of the shiny crystals that you can see down there. Okay? I'm going to show you a few of them right now. You will see when you're coming through the caves that the rock down here, it sometimes shimmers and sparkles like there are diamonds inside of it. But trust me, there are no diamonds down here. I have double checked. It's really, really translucent. That's where you'll see it glittering in the rock. And you will have actually eaten this stuff if you've ever taken paracetamol. So if my constant droning on gives you a migraine at any point, you can just take a deep bite anywhere into the rock, and you won't have a headache anymore, will you? Because you'll have too much of a toothache to keep you distracted. So calcite is really, really common around here, but it wasn't calcite that people came down here to mine for hundreds of years ago. The miners that would have been down here were looking for lead. These were lead mines that we're standing in. And now I'm going to show you what the lead ore would have looked like to the miners when they found it in the rock. So when it's your turn to see the lead, you'll agree it's very shiny. In fact, it looks just like silver. Touch it if you want. There you go. Might need to amputate that finger a bit later, though. Now, the ancient Greeks had their own name for this stuff. They called it galena. Galena means the bright one or the shining one. And galena is where we today get the names Helen and Helena from. So if you know anyone by the name of Helen or Helena, just tell her either that she's the bright shining one or that she's a toxic lump of lead. There's a bit of it. Have I got Helen or Helena with me? Mine shaft brought him down here in 1670. So he was able to make enough money from all the lead down here to become a very rich man until he died. They used to make lead into lots of different things. They made pipes, roofing, window frames out of it. They even used to sprinkle it into red wine, believe it or not. They did that to make the wine taste sweeter. They would also mix it into bread flour to make the bread turn white. And to all the ladies here, you were smearing it on your face because it went in makeup. But this was before they found out that lead is a tiny little bit poisonous. That's just a pile of rock there. That's just a way of getting rid of all the rock that was down here, instead of being in loose piles and maybe tripping you up every now and then. Just making it a bit safer for people down here. Either that, or that's the only thing keeping the roof up. You want to walk across 2 miles of pitch black tunnels filled with bats and God knows what else. Wow, you're every bit as morbid as I am, if that's what you'd like to do. There are bats living down these caves, so if we're very lucky, we might be able to see 1 or 2. But normally they prefer to live in the parts where they don't get bothered by smelly humans. But just to reiterate that it's not only the cave guys carrying rabies.
Passa milioni di anni fa e c'è una passeggiata così tramite sai tipo quella strada dove abbiamo camminato che va 3 miglia in quella direzione e 2 miglia nell'altra, quindi sono 5 miglia in totale.
Come perché?
No, tutti i vari minerali per quello da qua.
Vedi che non me ne appena vado all'ora.
Questo, poi ha detto che ci sono un paio di pipistrelli che vivono qui nella...
ഈ പോയിന്റ് ഫ്രണ്ട് മിന്നു വെച്ച് സ്കാൻ അത് തന്നെ കളിയാക്കും അപ്പം മാത്രമേ പേടിച്ചൂടെന്ന് പറയും. Do you want to hear that from Minnu?
We'll really need to mind their heads at this point coming up. It's not called concussion alley down.
60 anni. 60 anni per quella questione.
ഇതിനേക്കാൾ കുഞ്ഞു പിള്ളേരെയും കൂടെ എന്തിന് പേടിക്കുന്നത്? നല്ല ലൈറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. Find the gap menu. നമ്മുടെ കൊച്ചിന് തലയടിക്കില്ലെന്ന് പറ. ഇപ്പൊ തീർന്നത്
So guys, that's now 42 of the upward steps out of the way. We've only got 117 left to go. Now, if you look at the rock above you, you can see how it's covered in scratch marks. And those scratches, of course, were made by the pickaxes and the other tools that the miners would have been using to chop the rock away and the galena that they would take. No worries. Now guys, when you look down that way, it's not very hard to see where our lighting budget ran out is. Cut back some more knots. So we're currently standing in what we call the Great Chamber. You can't see a lot of the Great Chamber right now, it is rather dark down there, but don't worry, I'll be putting on a great big light show on for you in a few minutes time, so just don't shine any lights or torches down there in the meantime. The Great Chamber is over 150 feet long, it's over 90 feet high, and this is where we're going to be at our deepest. We're currently about 130 feet underground. So you probably won't be able to get a phone signal down here, being covered by this much rock. So a very comforting thought that you're stuck in here with me and my sparkling personality, I'm sure. The Great Chamber, believe it or not, this is the only part of the entire cavern that was made by natural causes, not by human hands. I pointed out all the pickaxe marks in the pipe vein, but if you look at the rock in here, I bet that you won't be able to find a single pick mark in the whole place. In fact, if I shine the torch right there, you can see where all the pick marks abruptly end, and you can see that right there, the appearance of the rock changes all of a sudden. The Great Chamber was carved into the hillside 10,000 years ago by water that would have been flowing down from the melting glaciers when the Ice Age was coming to an end. That's how it was formed. And you need to imagine that it got filled in with sand and soil that got washed down from the top, and there would have been lots of that shiny galena mixed in with it as well. The Great Chamber was founded in 1699, a few years after Walker's Grove started being mined out. The man who found it was named John Tinker. He had dug a mine shaft from his field looking for lead, and where I'm shining the torch now, that's where he eventually breached into the chamber. So that's the bottom of what we call Tinker's shaft today, no innuendo in that whatsoever. He came down that mine shaft with a bucket and spade. He would shovel up the sand and take it back to the top, where he sorted through it to find that shiny lead which he would sell. And it only took him 6 years to empty this gigantic chamber all by himself. That's how easy it was. And what I'm going to do now, guys, is switch off most of the lights to recreate how dark you would have found it down here. They never put this bit in the marketing campaign, do they? The lights actually cameo in the rock. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes in here. Feel free to have a wander down the bar with the chain, take lots of photos, find the puddles.
Why go there? I'm going back. Okay, running.
Don't let it go around the corner, because around the corner to the right there's an underground water reservoir with level blue lines in the weather season. There's canine 8 more.
Be careful.
When you're standing down on this side of the chamber, when I shine the torch up there, you can actually see the original entry point for the water that eroded the chamber 10,000 years ago. You can see it's sealed over today with some cardboard cleverly painted to look like concrete. One of our thrifty maintenance projects. So that's how the water came down here, and it would have been swirling around, breaking off. Would anyone here writing that the miners have left behind for us? That kind of thing is known as a miner's plaque or a miner's journal. It basically, you have touched this slimy rock, it's a lose-lose situation, because you've either been massaging raw sewage or 300-year-old bogies. You just can't win at the end of the day, can you? I'll let you decide what you find more glamorous. Would anyone like to see some dead bodies while we're down here before I let you escape? Oh yeah, it's good to see I'm not the only morbid person at the heights of Abraham.
No, thank
Well,
you.
tough, I love showing people dead bodies.
What?
They're in the rock right there. Now, believe it or not, 300 million years ago, this was been at the bottom of a shallow tropical sea. And this limestone rock all around us is turned into the rock all around us. And you can see some of them fossilised in the rock. They're called brachiopods 300 million years ago. A very long time ago indeed. So that's why, if you happen to be allergic to shellfish, it's a very bad idea to lick the rock around here, given that it is in fact made out of shellfish and other types of seafood. So it is on that note that we've got to end our tour of the Great Mason Cavern for today. Just one final thing for you to take on. It's a flight of 80 upward steps. You'll eventually reach a point where you can see a light at the end of a long tunnel. And that light might mean you're nearly at the end, or it might just mean you're dying from exhaustion. You need to take a gamble, I'm afraid. So once again guys, my name's Matthew. I do hope you've enjoyed my tour. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here as well. If you'd like to escape from your own time, I'll be right behind you. The chambers, along with any lead deposits that would have been up for grabs. So you've got the date 1705 to tell you they began mining down here 318 years ago. And you've also got the initials of the very first people that would have been working down here at the time. You need to imagine that back in 1705, somebody would have been crawling along a very narrow tunnel to get to that point. And they would have been crouching down to carve it. It would have been roughly level with the miner's ankles. So we can use it as a marker to show how much deeper down they dug, searching for galena, and how much they expanded the chamber overall. Until, as you can see over there, they breached into the back of the great chamber where we were earlier. Now then, I see that a few of you have touched this slimy rock. I'm always warning people, whatever you do, for the love of God, don't go anywhere near this rock, because that is the overflow from the gents' toilet stripping down onto it. So if you have touched it and now need to amputate a few fingers, you know who you are. As long as I know to stay clear, I don't care really. But if any of you have ever been down a cave system before, is there something you might expect to find in terms of rock formations that we've just not seen any of down here? Yeah, stalactites, all those spiky things that you often find growing down from cave ceilings.
Okay, I'm too little. He's one of the exhaustion.
Go, Matu.
Oh, light. Oh, phew. Can I make it? Can I make it to the end? Hey, how did you get this so far?
No, I'm scared. That's good timing.
Don't know, Matu.
I wasn't the one that put it on him. So.
How are we getting back to the place where we started to go here?
Don't know, Matu.
Are we going to stay here forever?
No.
Why? It has to start all the way down there. Can you go that?
Mi spiegava bene com'era, mi ha spiegato com'era il tipo di piattaforma geologica, per cui qui però molto
നമുക്ക് തോയ് മേടിക്കണം തിരിച്ചു വരുമ്പോൾ ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ തോയ് മേടിക്കാം This is what we knew. So today we ended on the heights of Abraham, but we need to buy a toy. So then when we go down the cave system, we couldn't show you. It's so embarrassing.
What?
I actually cried. I wanted to go back. It was so scary. And I think we're at the end, and I don't know where to go now. I don't know where to go now.
കൊച്ചിനാക്കി പിടിക്കുക.
And hold with your left hand.
കേബിൾ കാറിലേക്കാണോ പോണത്? നമ്മളെപ്പോഴാണ് വന്നത്?